Well, today we've got a special guest joining us on the show, an innovator at the intersection of art and technology. He's an AI artist who's using cutting-edge tools, not just to create, but to reconnect with something deeper, his cultural roots. Through his work, he's exploring identity, heritage, and what it means to preserve culture in the digital age. Please welcome Jay Pirabakaran, our person of interest this morning. Good morning, Jay. Hope you're doing well.
Hi, a very good morning to you, and I think it might be afternoon for you, so a very good afternoon for you, and thank you for having me.
Okay, it's still morning here, Jen, and really looking forward to this conversation with you because AI really is the theme of this gen, not just this year, this gen, if I can just put it that way. But let's go back to your story. Let's rewind a little. Tell us what really has been your inspiration in creating art, but using AI tools to do this.
Yeah, firstly, I've started this, journey of creating art and digital art for the last, around a decade now. So it's been going, starting as a photographer and then starting to work as a graphic designer. And now with the help of generative AI, I'm able to sort of blend and merge what I've learned over the past decade and bring that together into a medium where I can explore different storytelling, and that also brings in the aspect of blending culture and history and sort of heritage into that mix. So I'm really excited to share, how I sort of see those things and perceive those things together. So I'm really excited to share that across the board.
You're based out of the UK, Jay. What makes you fall back on your history, your culture, your heritage so much that it inspired you to create art in this particular way?
I've moved to UK around, just around 2007. So until I was 10 years old, I grew up in a Tamil household in Sri Lanka. And since then, even moving out to UK, it's always been around the case of learning a few things, reading books that was around heritage and culture. So that sort of brought in the tie up with the history and wanting to learn more and wanting to sort of explore that realm. And I've always had that idea of visual storytelling in my mind. So when I found this medium of creating digital art, it sort of picked up from there. And through the lens of generative AI, it sort of made it a bit more enhanced, I would say. So it just took from there.
Okay, so we'll do two things here. We'll ask you about your creative process while working with AI tools, and then we'll talk about a few examples, for instance. So visuals perhaps that I think really worked for you, that have gone viral, that have broken the internet. So we'll talk about some of those pieces of art created by you. But first, tell us about your creative process. How does it go step by step?
Absolutely, that's a great question. It starts with a lot of base idea of what I have. So a lot of sketching and trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to create. So it kind of works through as a storyboard to firstly navigate how I'm exactly going to picture this whole whatever the length is. So it's going to be like 30 seconds or 1 minute long. And I sort of optimize these content, especially for social media, because they're looked at a very fast-paced movements, right? So I've got to sort of break that down into seeing how many scenes, how many frames I'm going to put in, and just working from there to navigating it as how I can better tell the story and how I can sort of explore that. And that starts from, like I said, the sketching of the base idea, and then sort of taking that forward with an AI image generation through models such as Imagen 3 by Google, and sort of just exploring that territory with a little bit of different prompting and a little bit of different sort of prompt stacking, and then taking that final image that I'm happy with, converting that over to a video format that sort of moves and has a dynamic effect to it. And in this, I can sort of have control over the camera, and I can have control over how the lighting looks. I can sort of adjust a few things in the video itself. And then the third railway for that is it's sort of taking that and adding in sound effects. And the sound effects will be, again, AI generated as well. And this also has a little bit of control of how we want to navigate that story. And fourthly, I'll also look at mainly what kind of audio I'm actually using for the sound for the full length of the content as well, because that sort of navigates where the video is going to land as an overall. So after all, I mean, after that whole pipeline of four five process, I sort of see how this final finished version looks, and if it looks okay for social media, then I'll be happy to put that out there.
Okay, so after all the effort, all the work, having gone through these so many steps, you're still down to judging whether or not it's fit for social media. Jay, you make it sound relatively easy. You make it sound it's all smooth sailing. It's not difficult at all. But be realistic with us. How much time ideally does one digital piece of art take? So from when you get down to with the thought process to actually implementing it and coming out with the final product?
That's a great question. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's not it's easier said than done, right? So some pieces have taken almost a few hours to like a week. So we're moving at such a fast rate when it comes to the AI space, I would say. I mean, you've probably heard of a lot of talk about there's AI this, there's AI that, and there's so many different tools, and there's so many different updates that's coming in weekly. So it kind of like changes my workflow. It doesn't keep it very linear. It sort of keeps changing here and there, and it keeps getting better for some storytelling, and then for some it's very complex. So I've got to be very, trying to find out which new tools can actually help me, and sort of make it more efficient. But in a long term, I mean, I've averaged around like 5-6 hours per piece, I would say. But now it's gotten to a point where I can sort of like see, if I want to create something that goes for a minute long, I can sort of picture that idea, and if it looks very complex, or if it looks very easy to do. If it's something easy to do, then I can pretty much do it for just around under 2 hours, from the scripting, from the ideation to the actual final finished content itself.
Anywhere between 2 to 6 hours is nothing compared to what you've given us. So what I see typically on social media, when I see the final version of what you've created, it seems as though it would have taken anywhere between 3 to 4 days, or like you said, up to a week. But let's get down to some of these digital arts created by you, Jay. Let's talk about Collywood stars, walking the Met Gala's red or rather blue carpet. Tell us about the vision there, and how did you go about it? What was the thought there?
Absolutely. Yeah, so that was actually one of my favorite pieces. So I like fashion, and I like exploring new territories with that. And when I saw Met Gala happening, and so that really intrigued me. That was like, okay, let's see what I can do with this, and how I can sort of combine that with the heritage that we have, and we can sort of bring that together in a global stadium, and we can sort of integrate that into the clothing, into the fabric that they're actually wearing as well. So you can see like there's so many like intricate details that was put in into that piece, and it varies from each of the actors that was presented on that video.
And how much time did that take? Just so our viewers know how much effort goes into each of these digital arts.
So that was just around 4 hours, I would say, yeah.
Okay, lovely. Jay, now let's get to videos of Ram Setu exploration, because that one piece in itself went viral on social media, broke the internet. How did you come about that?
Yeah, so I've had that idea for, it's always been in the back of my mind to create that across, because that's something I've always grown up to find out and sort of explore. Is it actually there? How would this look if it was underwater? So, that's
what made it contemporary, Jay, was scuba divers exploring it. So you brought in your own imagination to that entire concept and gave it life.
Absolutely. So I've always wondered, what would it look if a modern archaeological team, or if a scuba diving team gets in and sort of discover this or rediscover this, and how would that look, and what are the visuals they're going to see, and will it be grandeur enough? So that's the kind of questions I had going in my mind when I sort of started creating that, and it sort of like molded into a way where I wanted to show something that was that was somewhat relatively realistic and somewhat okay. There's a little bit of imagination here as well. So I wanted to combine both of those together. But I think what really went well there is the sound effects that was added, which perfectly tied in with the narration of the video itself. And the visuals as well, I think it really appealed because there's a lot of like different movements that's going on. Then there's a lot of like movement that's realistic as well. There's like bubbles coming up from the scuba divers, so that kind of adds the realism on top of that. So all of those small things, I sort of like nitpick and like sort of edit through when it's needed, and I kind of see, does this look convincing enough for me at the final take? And
you say there was a lot of imagination too, but many fell for the realistic aspect of that piece of art. Many felt it was a real footage, and then it was also being reshared by some without a AI generated disclaimer. So you typically put a AI generated disclaimer to all digital art created by you. Some have not done that. Does that get problematic? How do you, as a digital artist, tackle those challenges?
Yeah, it's a very great question. I think, we're at a space now where what is the reality and what is AI generated content out there? So it's getting to a point where there's so much AI generated content out there that looks real enough to believe that it is real, and it doesn't have that disclaimer. I think but often there are platforms which are now embedding AI generated sort of signage into their videos itself. So this will sort of take a turn when it comes to social media. In the long run, I think in the next 5 years, I would say we'll sort of see where it'll be just purely AI generated content that is for one section of things in terms of social media, and then there will be just organic, real content that was created by actual people. So so there will be two narrations of this, and I think it will kind of lead to that path. But I think it's quite important to keep people informed on what is being shared and how it's being created, because then it will kind of make them understand exactly what the capabilities of AI is as well. And there's so much misuse of AI as well. So it's very important to firstly inform everyone of whatever it is they are viewing, and sort of acknowledging these are the possibilities of AI, and this is what can be achieved right now.
Okay, Jay, now we need to get to the other image which won my heart as it won everyone else's hearts, which was the miniature figures preparing some of the Indian cuisines. Like I said, it broke the internet clearly. What was your thought process there? How do you typically come up with these ideas?
So that was actually, so I saw this, a really cute video of this person, like, working around in like a small miniature kind of style. And that kind of intrigued me. I was like, okay, let's take this idea and sort of, blend it for whatever I have, inside my mind. So I wanted to take that and, sort of blend culture into that and see how that would play out. In terms of bringing in these small things, I think it's always been this part of me where I can sort of idea something and sketch something that is somewhat relative to me, and then I would just give it some life with finding out online as well. And it comes a lot of ideations from prompting tools as well, and LLM tools such as ChatGPT. So a lot of ideas and a lot of learning goes into that. And I'm at a point where now these AI models that I've trained myself, they can sort of understand what I'm thinking of and how I would sort of create stories. So they also give me a little bit of co-helping when I would sort of explore that idea, and they will also break down a few things for me, and so I just take a few things from there, put it all together, and then be like, okay, this is a really great idea. Let's just go with it and see what comes out.
Okay, before we wrap up this conversation, one message to all those who are worried? You spoke of how AI must be used responsibly, and that responsibility lies on everyone, you and I, especially digital artists like yourself. But what would be your message to anyone who says AI is going to sooner or later replace human artists?
Yeah, that's actually very important because for me it's not about using AI to replace creativity. It should be always to amplify memory, culture, and storytelling. I think the essence of bringing any medium into play. Whether it's a paintbrush or whether it's a mouse drawing from a computer. And now the AI generated era. So it should always bring in creativity, and it should sort of amplify what you have already, and it should always serve as a medium. But I really think whatever we visually see, we should always emotionally connect with. I think that's the art of storytelling, and that's the emotion to it. And the people that are watching these videos, they sort of resonate with that, even if it's AI generated,
Okay.
or some might not even know it's AI generated, and they still resonate with it. So that is the key for it. But in the near future, I think there will be a lot of merge between AI and real content itself, and that sort of bridges both of those together. And yeah, I think it's an amazing time to be. Definitely, I think it's moving, and it's moving really fast at a pace where things can sort of break down a lot of workflow that we have going on.
It's almost
and-
scary the pace at with which AI is moving. It's
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
rapidly. I mean, fast would be
It
an
is, yeah.
understatement. But Jay, can I then ask you? So you spoke of how this is coming together of your imagination and AI tools, your AI vision. How much of an importance percentage-wise you give to your artistic vision and AI input or influence?
I would say my input is almost 95%, and then 5% comes from whatever the training I've given to the AI models that I've trained. So they sort of think for me and sort of ideate from there, and I just sort of navigate them through. So it always comes from me as the main creator, and and then sort of getting help from AI when it's needed and where it's needed. So yeah, it just goes a play between vice versa.
And for all those who are aspiring to become digital artists like yourself, give them suggestions about AI tools that you find the most exciting, are fun to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you are starting out, please do explore Google's Imagen 3. I would say it's one of the best tools out there that is completely free to use. And there are so many different image models that are out there, such as Google's Nano Banana, which just got released, Seed Dream 4, which helps with a lot of character consistency when you want to, work on an image that you only have one image and you want to work on a few variations of that. You can do that through that or Google's Nano Banana. And there is Flux Context, there is ChatGPT, as you know. And now with video models, they are often changing, and they are sort of coming to life with so many different things. There's Sora 2, which just got released a few days back, and there's Kling 2.5, which is very good for prompt adherence. It will sort of understand world physics, and it will do exactly what you prompt it to do. And yeah, I mean, there's so many varieties of tools that help with.
And
each
since you're
every-
always experimenting with newer tools, your suggestion list also is endless. Great, Jay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'm going to end on this note. I'm going to ask you about your favorite digital piece of art so far. Give us a reason, and then we quickly close the show.
Absolutely. I think my favorite one currently right now, it's often changing, but the favorite one right now, I would say, is the so I did a piece on Kantara chapter 1 that just recently got released. And I think that was really connected with me as well. Like, when I finished the piece and I looked at it, it was like, okay, this is actually something special. And I think the more of that comes from the sound effects, and the audio was, it perfectly tied up with the video itself. So yeah, that's actually going quite viral right now. It got like 3 million views in like one day. So I really like that, and I'm happy that a lot of people are actually commenting on that and saying this is like super emotional and super connecting with me as well. So I'm glad that people like it.
Yeah, that's an extension of what you've done in the past, bringing heritage tales to life like never before. Jay, thank you so much. It was wonderful having you on board. Thank you for joining us on the Breakfast Club.